All right, how's everybody doing? I wanted to just do this quick video on my pedal board setup because so many of you have asked me over the years, and quite frankly, I'm tired of explaining it. Not really. I like talking pedals and guitars, but I just wanted to do this quick video to show you guys what's up in a little more detail to see if I can maybe help you on your journey or maybe inspire you or get any ideas for your own setups. So here it is. So this is my pedal board. We got the Line 6 HX effects, which is what I'm going to go through in detail today. That's the mothership of all the effects that I run with my acoustic setup. I don't have an electric setup. I play all acoustics. So, all right. So for starters, what we got here is we got the Line 6 HX effects. I highly recommend it. We have an expression pedal here that I use strictly for volume. So it doesn't matter what preset I'm in, what setting I'm in, I use this for my volume on the guitar. So I have full control of volume. And it just raises it probably 15% and then down 15%, just depending on what I need. So if I bust out a solo or something, I can add a little bit of volume. And then when the solo's over, I can come back into normal volume, I guess you could call it. I do a lot of looping, as some of you know that follow me. This is my looper. It's a Boss RC1. It's just the most basic standard looper you can possibly buy. It's about $100 brand new. And then this is a stop and clear pedal for this. So this pedal is connected to this. So I can hit that to stop the track, or if I hold it in, it will clear the track so I can go into the next song. I'm about to upgrade this probably to the Boss RC500, which is a dual looper, which I'm going to put basically percussion on one loop and rhythm, bass, and lead on another loop, which I can go in more detail about that. This is just an LR Bags DI box that I plug the guitar in, and you can EQ and do some fancy things. It just kind of makes the guitar sound better, in my opinion. So I highly recommend getting one of those. LR Bags Para Acoustic DI is what it's called. This is another expression pedal that I use for a couple different things, mainly for delays. So when I have it the whole way down in this position that it's in, there's zero delay on the guitar. Here's the sound of the guitar. A little bit of reverb, that's about it. So that's like a standard acoustic sound. But if I peel this up, it'll add some delays to my guitar. Maybe. It should. Maybe I have to wake it up a little bit. Okay, well that's not working right now, and I don't know why. I think I know why, actually. Let me go back into a different setting here. I think I'm in a wrong track, a wrong preset. All right, so we're going to try this again. I'm going to get to that computer thing here in a minute, and that's what's controlling all of my effects and what I'm programming into the Line 6 HX effects. So now it should work. So now there's zero delay, just a little bit of reverb. Now we're going to add some delay. So you hear the delay on that. And I can control this with this tap tempo. I can control what speed. So one of the reasons why I'm upgrading to the Boss RC500 is it actually has MIDI clock in it. So when I press to do a loop, it's going to tell this Line 6 HX effects what my beats per minute is. So this tempo will automatically sync to the loop. So it doesn't matter how much delay that I add, it's all going to be in sync, so it'll never be out of sync. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm upgrading to the RC500, because this doesn't have any MIDI control in it. For those of you that don't know what MIDI control is, it's M-I-D-I. Not exactly sure what it stands for. It's just computer signals. So these can all connect to each other through MIDI, and you can program them to send different signals to different things. It's pretty fancy computer stuff. And for us guitar player nerds, it's a dream come true because you have literally full control over anything that you want to do. So I'm just learning about it. I'm just a little acoustic guy. You know, I don't really get into too many effects, too many hardcore things. But the things that I do, I just found that MIDI is a heck of an avenue to follow. So as soon as I upgrade to the RC500 looper, I'm going to be able to tell the Line 6 effects a couple different commands on the fly live. So anyway, so this is the volume pedal, and this is the delay pedal, and it'll do one or two other things that I can show you. And then on the far left there is a mixer. So everything runs into that mixer. And then in the back corner there, I just have a power strip that everything plugs into. So that's pretty much it for the pedal board. So now what I want to do is I want to go into detail into the line 6 and each preset that I have for anybody that's interested in learning it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip open the laptop. So I have my laptop connected via USB to the back of the line 6 HX effects, so I can control everything through their proprietary software. It's an amazing, amazing software. So I'm going to zoom you in a little bit here and see if we can't show you what's going on here. Okay, so there's a little bit of good zoomage for you. All right, so on the left side of here is all the presets that I have. It's really just 8 presets that I copied 3 different times. So right here you can see 1 through 8 is my 8 presets. And then for different guitars, I have the same exact presets, just EQ'd a little bit differently for different guitars. So it's just 8 presets, just copied 3 times. Here's the second one that says nylon, and the third one down here that says Taylor. So we're going to go to this Taylor one because it's the one I use the most, it seems, even if I don't have my Taylor plugged in. I like this setting that I have set up. So right now we're on number 1, which is rhythm. So this is like a basic standard acoustic sound. Nothing really going on. A little bit of EQ, a little bit of reverb to it, and pretty much that's it for the sound. Now it gets a little bit crafty here. Some things that I've learned online from different people. So what I have, this is my whole preset here for number 1 for my rhythm preset. So what this is right here is called a crossover. Okay, so what I can do with this crossover is I can split the frequencies out. So the lower frequencies on the guitar, I send down here to this chain. So basically everything on the low E string up to the 12th fret, which is about 55 hertz. I think I have it set at 54 hertz right here, you can see. So everything, oh, we're a little, let me see if I can zoom that in for you guys. Sorry about that. All right, I don't know how zoomed in that is or how focused that is, but hopefully you guys can see all this. Hopefully. I'm getting a reflection off the computer screen. Let me turn the lights down a little bit. Maybe that'll help. All right, maybe that helps. Hopefully you guys can see that. Anyway, I have this crossover set at 54 hertz. So anything below 54 hertz, which is basically the low E string up to the 12th fret, I'm going to add this pitch to it, which is actually going to drop it down an octave. So it's going to add basically a bass line under every chord that I strum. On this top line here, all the frequencies go through. So you're hearing the full frequency set of the guitar here, but it's splitting out the lower frequencies and sending it down here, which I'm grabbing and dropping it down an octave to throw a bass sound underneath my acoustic, even when I'm just strumming a normal song. So let me see if you can pick this up. This works better with headphones if you got headphones on. So here's a simple pitch that I have going down 12 notes, so down 1 octave to turn it into a bass guitar. So you can kind of hear a bass guitar underneath that. Kind of. So I'm going to drop the bass out so you can tell the difference. So there's no bass. Now I'm going to turn this back up. And you can hear that bass under. So when I'm strumming a chord, ooh, that's a little out of tune. When I'm strumming a chord, all it's doing is adding like a ghost bass note underneath each chord that I'm playing, just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. And when you're playing with a looper and you have bass lines going, and let's say you come up to a chorus part and you have to stop playing the looper because the chords are going to change to the chorus part, you're also losing your bass line that you set down. So I can stop that bass line in that loop going, and then I can start the chorus, but the chorus still has a bass underneath it because of this little setting that I have. So it's getting a little bit in detail. I hope it's not too confusing for some of you out there. But if you ever hear any of my live streams, you can hear a ghost bass note under everything that I'm playing, and it sounds really good if I hook a subwoofer up to my live PA speakers. It just fills out the room. It's just more fun. It just gives a little more ass end to it, and Everybody likes a little more butt end, so bottom end on it. So that's what I do. So going one step further, I'm going to back out here again, and over here on my volume control, if I want to peel out to a solo, if I want to raise the guitar volume to a solo, I don't want that bass line, that ghost bass note to follow it. So if you're doing a solo, you don't want a bass underneath it, right? You want just a guitar. So I have this set up. You can watch these lines here, the level of this bass. You can watch when I peel this up to go to a solo, it's dropping down the level of the bass. So now I've just peeled out. Now I'm doing a solo with no bass underneath it because I rolled this volume control forward, this expression pedal. So now I'm coming back to when I want to just jump back into the chords. I drop this volume pedal back down, and you could see that raised up. So you can see I can manipulate each of these pedals or each of these effects with whatever I want to, with MIDI or with these expression pedals. It's great. Or with extra buttons, or there's a bunch of buttons on top of here, and you can manipulate all of that. So if you ever listen to me just doing a straightforward song, it's just an acoustic song, there's a ghost bass underneath it, but every time I take a solo, the bass disappears. That's because of this setting that I have in here. And I learned this from a couple different people online that have gone through their setups as well. I.e. Kevin Koa, who used to be a local guy. I think he's down in Maryland now. He has a really nice video on his whole rig. And if you think my rig is something special, you should see his. I'm doing about 1/10 of the stuff that he does. So he's pretty good. There's another guy, Josh Daniels, that I follow, who's out of Charlotte, that has another nice video that does this ghost bass note thing as well. And he does a lot of looping. So these are all just looper guys that I follow, and they all have some pretty good information. So, all right, so that's that. So, yeah, so that's in this setting. That's what this crossover is here. Let me zoom back in. Hopefully let's see. Come on. I don't know why it's so out of focus. All right, so now we're back in here. So that's this crossover frequency thing that I explained in the ghost bass note. So moving on, I also use what's called an IR, which is, I forget the term off the top of my head. I'm drawing a blank. But basically, you can emulate the different sounds of acoustic guitar. So I'm using an IR. I'm emulating a Taylor 614 with this, and I have the level kind of down a little bit, so it's just a touch of a really good guitar and emulating the sound of it. So what you're hearing isn't 100% the sound of my guitar, the tones that my guitar pulled out. It's pulling some digital tones, I guess you could call it, from a different place. So you should check out IRs if you're interested. They're pretty cool. There's some free ones out there. There's some paid ones out there. I think this is just a cheap free one, and yeah, I use it because I like it. I have a little bit of compression that I put on it. I think when I peel up to a solo, I put a little bit of compressor on it just so it doesn't get too loud or soft in places. EQ, here's just an EQ that I have, and you can see that if you see all these white numbers next to it, it's telling you which pedals you have assigned to it. So on this one, I have this pedal 2, this volume pedal. So when I peel up to a solo, I'm dropping some of the highs out, I'm dropping some of the highs out, and I'm dropping some of the lows out, and I'm just sticking with those mid frequencies. So it really helps that solo to pop out of the rhythm sound that you have going on, and I can manipulate all that with this expression pedal on the right here. So when I do this expression pedal, a lot of things are happening. It's manipulating the EQ, so it's giving it a better lead sound, and it's dropping that bass note out, that ghost bass note out. So I can control all of those things inside of this software, inside of this pedal with those couple things. So it's pretty awesome. All right, moving on. So this is a delay that I was telling you about that I can manipulate with the other expression pedal right here. So when I peel that up and down, you will see these sliders going up and down because I'm adding and deleting delay out of it. Sometimes when I do a solo, I like to just thicken it up with just having some weird sounds behind it. So that's all it is. It's just a basic setup. And then you have your reverb. So that's pretty much it for my basic rhythm setup. You just have the IR, the emulating guitar, a little bit of compression, some EQ, some delays that I can turn on and off on the fly, and some reverb, and then I have this crossover with the bass. So this is the setting I use 85% of the time when I'm doing a live show. So that's, oh, my guitar came unplugged. So that's all that is there. Just a basic rhythm preset there. Okay, so that's that one. So now we're going to move on down to the next one, which is a bass. So now I can actually turn my guitar into a bass. So I can play a whole bunch of different bass lines however I want. So if you ever heard me loop before, I like to add some bass lines in. So now I'm going to engage that bass. So now my guitar is a bass. Not the best sounding thing in the world, but you know what? It gets the job done. It's just kind of for a subtle thing. And I like it. I like to play around with it. So you ever hear me in a live thing, sometimes I flip over to a bass. So all this is doing is, you can see these different chains in this preset is, I have a little bit of compression just so the volume, so those of you who don't know what compression is, it makes the soft sounding, it brings up the volume of the soft sounding things and it brings down the volume of the high sounding things. So everything kind of sounds the same volume, give or take. So it's, you know, when I'm playing a bass, there's really no reason to have notes that are any quieter or louder than the other notes. So having a compressor on your signal chain, in your signal chain, just helps to even out that sound. So there's nothing really high and there's nothing really low, which is great. So I have a little bit of compression on the bass. This is the actual pitch that I have, again, going down 12 notes. So it's going down, it's dropping the sound of the guitar down 1 octave, which is the same octave range that a bass guitar is in. So it's just converting a regular guitar into a bass. So there's that. Here's the EQ that I can just EQ it up however I want. I take all the highs out of it, maybe add some of that mid to low range, make some of that stand out a little bit. And all of these sounds have taken a long time to figure out. Maybe I'll be playing and I'll be like, man, you just can't really hear that bass. It's really not popping out. So I'll go into this EQ and maybe I'll take this 125 hertz and raise it up, and all of a sudden it helps the bass stick out in the music. So that's that. Here's the reverb that I put, just a little bit of reverb on the bass, not much. It just makes it sound bigger, That's really all reverb is. And then here is, I don't even know why I have this on. This is a little volume setting I think that might just help spread out the signal or something. I'm not real sure. So that's the bass right there, the bass chain. Not exactly sure what that is, but compressor, the pitch, dropping it down an octave, a little bit of EQ, and a little bit of reverb is basically all that is for the bass. And at the end of this video, I'll do a little bit of a demo with all these effects put together into a loop for you. So stick around. All right, so there's the bass. So next we're going to go on to the next thing, which is number 3. It's a wah. So this is kind of an auto wah. It's like an envelope filter. If you're familiar with Jerry Garcia, it's kind of emulating what Jerry's wah is. So this is one of my favorite effects, and I use it a lot. So that's my little impression of Jerry Garcia right there, with a little auto wah, little envelope. So with this, again, more EQ. So there's, you want to make sure your settings have the right EQ. So in basically all of my presets, there's going to be an EQ of some kind. And again, I can manipulate all those with this volume pedal. So if I raise the volume up, maybe I want to take a little bit of the bass out, so the bass isn't real boomy when I raise the volume up in the wah when I'm doing a solo. So there's that. So I can emulate that. So we have an EQ, we have a compressor, because again, we don't want signals to be too high or too low in the volume. So the compressor just helps to even that signal out. It's what I think is wrong today with a lot of music, is everything is so compressed that there's no feeling to it. It's over compressed. Every song that you hear, there's no emotion to the music, in my opinion, because everything is just like a straight line. If you go back and listen to music in the 70s, they really didn't use compressors back there, and there's soft notes and there's high notes and there's different pressures that they can put into the music that bring that music to life. And I think that's a lot of what's missing in today's music, in my opinion. That's that's a story for a different day. But I think everything today is just way over compressed, and there's no feeling to it. It's just a straight line, in my opinion. Okay, so we're in the wah settings still. So next, here's the actual wah itself. This is just a filter, an envelope filter, which gives it the wah sound, and I can go down and I can control all the frequencies and the settings and how much I wanted this, how much I wanted that. There's really no sense to get into any of this stuff, but these are all the settings where you can manipulate that sound. So I just messed around with that until I found what I liked, and I kept with it. So there's that. Next we have the delay, which I can also manipulate with that other expression pedal behind the computer screen there, so I can add delay to it if I want, just when I'm doing a solo, so I can really make it weird and put some big trails behind it and really space it out and make it sound all weird and crazy and psychedelic and whatever, and I can control all that on the fly with that other expression pedal that is behind the computer screen there. Again, reverb. There's a little more reverb for you. Every setting pretty much has reverb and EQ on it. I have two different reverbs, probably like a short reverb and a longer reverb would be my guess. So when I raise the volume up and I want to do a solo, maybe I want to drop out some reverb, or maybe I want to add some reverb just to make it kind of sound bigger or smaller, depending on what the music's calling for. I don't know why this is not focusing in all that well. So anyway, there's the wah. So that's setting number 3, preset number 3. Now we're going to go to preset number 4, which is a distortion, like a little bit of a gain, just for more like rock leads. So it's an acoustic sound, but there's just a little more punch to it, a little more gain to it, that I can. So you guys probably hear me do that a lot. So it's just a little bit of gain. It's a little bit of more punchy, a little bit more of hey, I'm here in your face, and here's a little rock tune in your jaunt, if you will. So that's what that is. So this is pretty simple. So I also have a wah connected to this, where I can really make it go waka 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 waka. I can't really do it with my setup now with the computer being in the way, but I can really control the wah of it and really get that like Jimi Hendrix, like Trey Anastasio, like waka 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 wah thing going. So I use that a lot as well, and I can manipulate all that with the expression pedal that's behind the computer screen, and I can do that on the fly, which is great. So again, here's the EQ. So I EQ'd it how I wanted it to be. Here's the distortion pedal that I built into this preset, just giving it a little bit of gain, toning it up a little bit, and then I can control the volume again with that volume pedal for how loud or how soft I want it to be on the fly. I don't know if you've listened to my live streams, but I'm very OCD when it comes to volume. I have to have full control of it at all times, or I literally go insane. So I'm like a big thing of volume and room volume. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just the way it is. So again, here's a reverb in the distortion preset, and here is, I think this is wide or pan. Oh, I pan it to the left a little bit. So when it does a solo because everything's running stereo, with some of these effects, I pan it either left or right just a little bit, because I think it just makes it sound like a different instrument. It makes it stand out a little more. If you put it on a good Bluetooth speaker, or you listen to it on good headphones, you can really hear the stereo effect. So every little minute detail I have in all of my presets, I just think it sounds cool. If you listen to a lot of rock music, and they do a solo, it's not really right in the middle. Sometimes it's to the left or to the right. It just helps it make it stand out from the rest of the music. So your left ear can listen to, a couple instruments, and your right ear can listen to a couple instruments, and you don't realize it, but they're standing kind of on their own, and that's what's making the music that you're hearing. So that's the distortion right there. So that is, those 4 settings are those 4 presets are the ones that I use the most in my show. So we have the rhythm here. Let me zoom this out a little bit. We have bass, rhythm, bass, the wah, and distortion. Those 4 I use 98% of the time. Then I have these other 4 down here, which I just call kind of fun effects. The next one is a univibe sound. So it's just like basically a keyboard with like heavy vibrato. And I can control that with the tap tempo. So if I hit the tap tempo, so that one I don't use very often. I don't use very often. Maybe once per show, maybe. But it's there if I want to play with it. The next one, really no reason to go through any of that. It's just got the EQs. It's got the modulation, which is the univibe sound that you're hearing. I think it's called it's a deluxe phaser is the setting that I'm using in this. And again, I can control all the settings in there: the speed of it, the depth of it, the type of wave form that I want in the tremolo. You can really dive into this. So I just kind of set this one and forget it. Don't really mess with it too much. I have the delay in there, which I can manipulate with that left expression pedal that I can add or subtract delays as I see fit during a live show. And then, of course, we have reverb on it to give it a little depth. So you can hear the trails of reverb there. So that's the univibe, I call that. I don't even know if that's the right term. That's just what I call it. So that's preset 5. Number 6 here is just a chorus. So this is just, you probably hear a lot of this in a lot of music. That doesn't even sound right to me. I got to go back in and kind of fix that one up. But I barely use this one. I think I use this on like lightning crashes with live. Doesn't even sound right. I gotta fix it. But you can see what I mean. I haven't visited that preset in a long time, so maybe it's time for a revisit to beef it up a little bit. It sounds a little thin to me. So anyway, that's just a chorus effect. Got to your EQ, got the chorus sound, the delay, reverb, and maybe one or two other goodies there at the end. So yeah, that's that. The next one is kind of fun. This is just a keyboard, so I don't know. I found some kind of effect in here that makes this sound like a keyboard, the guitar. So I can just do it. So that's kind of fun. I'm a big Doors fan, and they're obviously heavy on the keyboard. So sometimes when I play a Doors song and I'm looping it, I'll just throw in a little Ray Manzarek there. So that's pretty fun. So they got a lot going on in this preset. I'm not really sure why I have that split. I think it just makes it sound a little wider, a little bit more like a keyboard. But again, you got a compressor here because I don't want the low notes and the high volume notes. I want everything to sound almost exactly the same. So I really have this one compressed big time. So there's that. And then I put an EQ on it. I think another compressor. I'm not quite sure why. And then we have the delay again, which obviously I can control with the left expression pedal. If I want to add some trails to it or some weird psychedelic stuff at the end, I can do that. And then we got a little bit of reverb on it. So pretty cool there. So that's keyboard. So this last one I have, I just call it drum. So I do a lot of percussion. I do a lot of percussion on the guitar when I'm looping. It acts as a drum kit kind of. You can hit the low E string kind of as a kick drum, and then you hit the high E string kind of as the snare. So you can go. So with this, you can see there's not a whole lot going on, just EQ and reverb. I just kind of EQ it up to make it kind of stand out a little bit more as a drum kit when I'm beating on the guitar. That's me tapping on the guitar too. I do that sometimes. So that's pretty much it for my pedal board there. You got those 8 effects: rhythm, bass, wah, distortion, univibe, chorus, keyboards, and drum. And I can do all of this from the software of the Line 6 HX Effects pedal. You can also do all of this on the actual pedal itself. It's just a little bit harder. You got to click through all these buttons to get into different menus and things, and it's just not as fun. It's not as easy, but you could do it on the fly. So if I'm in the middle of a gig and I don't like the sound of something, I can quickly get down, go into menu, go into that preset block chain, pick which one I want to change, and I can do that all on the fly, which is good. But if you're going to sit down and program your whole pedal board, you definitely want the software here, because it makes a huge difference. I think I pretty much covered everything that I can, but that's just kind of how I put together my little acoustic rig. It gives me a lot of different options and a lot of different things that I can just do on the fly, kind of whatever I'm feeling. Some sets I do are just mostly just acoustic sounds, and in other sets I really get into rock and the bass lines and big drum beats and big delays and weird stuff and whatever. It's just whatever the night calls for, whatever the room calls for, whatever the crowd calls for. I have full control of that. It probably took me 4 years to get this set up exactly how I want, and it's great because I can back it up to a cloud. So if this unit should ever go down, I can just get a new unit and upload my presets right to it within seconds, and boom, I'm back to flying again. So the wonderful world of computers and pedals nowadays is just insane. I can't even keep up. This pedal is probably 7-8 years old now, and there's so many new things that are just out of this world. It's pretty wild, but I love my HX effects. It's the mothership of everything that I do, and I love it much. So hope maybe I'll do another video when I update my looper, because I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to work too. Like I said, I want to get a dual looper that it's 2 separate tracks, so I can pretty much put all the percussion on one and all the rhythm stuff on the other. So if you listen, if I this is just a single track looper, so I have to put everything onto one track. So I'll be playing along with the bass, with the drums, with the rhythm side and everything, and then I'll come to a chorus part. I have to turn this looper off by using this pedal, so I have to kill the looper, which kills the percussion too. And so when I go into the chorus, we kind of lose that percussion sound, and it drives me crazy. The crowd probably doesn't hear it, but as a musician, if you come this far into the video, you're definitely a musician. You're definitely into this stuff. You know that that can drive you crazy, those kinds of things. So I'm going to try a dual looper where I can layer different things. And then I'm working my way up to a Boss RC 600. I see some guys doing multi-layers, multi-different loops. And I think that's the direction I'm headed. I'm just not quite there yet. But I hopefully will be someday. So, all right, well, that's my pedal board. Stick around, and I'll do a little minute or two of me jamming with all these effects. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it, y'all. All right, keep on rocking out there.